Hello there, welcome to Granada Reports.
Hi, on the programme this evening.
Not guilty pleas from a nurse accused of the murder of babies at a northwest hospital.
Anger from the Hillsborough families and his own MPs after Sir Keir Starmer writes an article for The Sun newspaper.
He needs to apologise, he needs to come to the city, he needs to meet with the families of the 97 victims.
Catching them young, the children getting lessons with a difference at their school.
And it's what dreams are made of, as two Coronation Street fans got to spend the night on the cobbles in this, the Rovers Annex. We'll be taking a nosy around inside at the end of the programme.
There's lots coming up to stay with us this Monday evening, but first tonight, she repeated not guilty 18 times. A nurse has today denied murdering 8 babies and attempting to murder 10 others.
Lucy Letby is alleged to have killed 5 boys and 3 girls whilst working at the Countess of Chester Hospital. Tim Scott's been following developments and is live for us this evening.
Yes, Vicky, well, 31-year-old Lucy Letby today denied all 18 charges that were put to her here at Manchester Crown Court. She's charged with the murder of 5 baby boys and 3 baby girls, all while she was working as a nurse at the Countess of Chester Hospital's neonatal unit between 2015 and 2016. She's also charged with the attempted murder of 10 other babies during the same period. She answered not guilty to every charge that was read out to her today. Letby, who's originally from Hereford, is on remand at HMP Peterborough, where she appeared today via video link. After entering her pleas, she then listened to the rest of today's proceedings, which dealt mainly with administrative matters. Reporting restrictions are still in place ahead of the trial, which is scheduled for October next year. It will take place here at Manchester Crown Court and is estimated to last up to 6 months. Vicky, Andy.
OK, Tim Scott, thank you very much indeed. Well, next tonight, into the growing calls for the leader of the Labour Party to apologise to the people of Liverpool after he wrote an editorial piece for The Sun. The newspaper's been boycotted by many in the Labour stronghold for its coverage of the Hillsborough disaster.
Now, relatives of those who died have joined Labour politicians to criticise Sir Keir Starmer's decision. Our correspondent Amy Welsh has the latest.
The lies they told about Hillsborough were, in the eyes of most Liverpudlians, unforgivable. And so too is the Labour leader's decision to speak to the Sun newspaper.
He knows that he doesn't have to even try to get the vote of this city. He knows that he can treat us like dirt and go and speak to our enemy.
Deanna Matthews lost her uncle Brian that day and says she was shocked when she saw an article written by Sir Keir Starmer in Sunday's paper.
He's tried to pretend that he understands how hurt we are.
Do you think he has underestimated the strength of feeling within Liverpool?
I think so, but I think he also doesn't care. And he used us. That's how I feel.
This was the promise he made when he came to Liverpool for his leadership campaign in 2020.
This city has been wounded by the media. The Sun in this city, a hurt for this city. And I certainly won't be giving any interviews to The Sun during the course of this campaign.
And it's left even his own MPs feeling betrayed.
He needs to apologise, he needs to come to the city, he needs to meet with the families of the 97 victims. And he needs to start to really get in touch with what our community is facing and how we're feeling.
Ian Byrne and Kim Johnson took to social media to share their disappointment, and as far as the public are concerned, he's let Liverpool down.
He should be aware of what the people of Liverpool think of this scurrilous publication.
He should have more sense than talking to them, shouldn't he?
Liverpool is supposed to be a staunch Labour stronghold, and he goes and does that. It's a kick in the teeth.
The Sun has in the past apologised for its mistakes about Hillsborough, but they haven't responded to our request for a comment today, and neither have the Labour Party. And while some Liverpool MPs are demanding he says sorry,
I know people are calling for him to come to the city and speak to the families to learn about the hurt. I don't want to spend time speaking to him. He doesn't deserve my time. I wouldn't accept his apology.
Sir Starmer remains silent, and the damage may already be done. Amy Welch, ITV News, Liverpool.
Next tonight, the words level up are likely to ring across Manchester over the next few days as the Conservative Party conference continues in the city, with announcements expected on major projects such as Northern Powerhouse Rail.
But there's a growing concern amongst some Red Wall MPs that the fuel crisis and plans to cut £20 a week from universal credit payments threaten to undermine the Prime Minister's promise to improve the lives of people in places like the North West. Well, Alicia McNally joins us live from the conference now. And Alicia, what's been happening today?
Well, Vicky, it's very clear what message the Conservatives are keen to drive home from this conference. Take a look at the diary for the next few days and you'll see literally dozens of events with the phrase levelling up in the title. But today we heard more from the government on how they plan to actually deliver on this quite broad promise, as the Prime Minister and the Chancellor put their hard hats and high-vis back on and headed to a Network Rail site in Manchester. With a focus on infrastructure and jobs, the Chancellor has outlined how he wants to invest in technology and science, creating 2,000 scholarships for young people so they can work in artificial intelligence. He's also extended a number of measures to help people back into work, including the Kickstart scheme for young people and cash incentives for employers so that they can take on new apprentices. This is how the government plans to help people living in some of the poorest parts of the country. But as you say, a bit of a cloud hangs over this conference. On Wednesday, as the Prime Minister takes to the main stage to deliver his keynote speech, more than 700,000 families here in our region will lose access to £20 a week in universal credit payments. Those are payments which one North West charity described as a lifeboat on a sinking ship. And that can make for quite an awkward background to the levelling up agenda, which is the concern of some Red Wall MPs. I've put those concerns to the Prime Minister. Prime Minister, can you promise that North West families won't go hungry this winter?
We will do everything we can to help families in the North West and across the country. So I understand how tough it can be. I totally get it. But I think the way ahead is to make sure that we have the hardship funds available, the £500 million hardship fund.
£500 million for the whole country. The North West is losing nearly £750 million on Wednesday. How are people going to survive this winter?
What we can't do is continue with the huge COVID programme that has supported the whole country with about more than £407 billion of support. What I don't think would be right would be to raise taxes in order to subsidise.
The tax gap is £35 billion.
In order to subsidise low pay.
You could find this money, couldn't you? But you won't. Why?
And because what we're seeing instead is an organic increase in pay. And that is going up.
Inflation is set to cut household budgets by £700 a year. Fuel costs £139 a year. Food bills £160 a year. And working families are facing a tax rise. We can't talk about pay rise in real terms here. Working families are being battered, aren't they?
No, you're seeing increases in pay for the first time in more than a decade. What we can't do is take taxes from working people in order to subsidise low pay, when what should be happening is companies should be investing in their staff, investing in their pay, and investing in equipment and in training. And that is actually what is now happening.
That takes time. What would you say to a mother in Bolton who has to put food on the table tonight? She's lost a quarter of her budget compared to last week.
I would say I understand the difficulties people face, but we've increased the support for childcare. We've increased the warm homes discount. We've increased the local housing allowance.
121,000 families in the North West say they're likely to need to skip a meal this winter. So those things aren't working, are they?
For people who are in need, there's the fund I've talked about. But what you're also seeing is the organic increase in pay.
Can I ask you about this £500 million very quickly? You've said that's to help the most vulnerable. How many people is that?
We are there to help everybody who needs it, and that's what we're
but
determined to do.
How many people is that who have a share of this £500 million?
That depends on how many people come forward and need the fund.
So how do you know that that's enough money?
we're confident that the best way to help the people of this country is not to raise more money in taxes to subsidise low pay. The best way forward is through good jobs, to invest in skills, to invest in their future, and that is what is happening. You're starting to see wages rise.
And when North West councils come to you and say, we're out of money, people are hungry, people are cold, what will you do? Will you take money away from other councils?
No, we continue to support councils in the North West and throughout the country. We put much more money, we put huge sums into local councils throughout the pandemic to help them to support people. But I think what the people of this country want to see is a strong jobs-led recovery, not raise taxes to subsidise low pay or use uncontrolled immigration to keep wages low, which is, I think, another mistake we could make, and we're not going to go down that route. Thank you.
The Prime Minister speaking to our political correspondent, Leisha McNally. OK, more of the day's news now. And Lancashire is set to become home to what's being described as a digital warfare centre. The new headquarters for the National Cyber Force is being built in Salisbury. It'll cost £5 billion and create thousands of jobs.
I think it's fantastic news for Lancashire. It's fantastic news for the country. It's an opportunity here to grow the talent and the skill that already exists in the region, and to see that flourish with a fantastic opportunity.
A man's been arrested on suspicion of arson after a huge fire at a disused bar in Liverpool. 12 fire engines were called to Smoky Mows next to the old 051 club in the early hours of this morning. It led to a number of road closures in the area.
And Beatles fans have been intrigued by a giant green submarine which has appeared in central Liverpool. The boat's been teasing the publication of a new picture book by Sir Paul McCartney. It's then being donated to Alder Hey Children's Hospital. And you can find exclusive footage of Sir Paul recording an audio version of his book on our website. That's at itv.com/Granada.
Green submarine, eh?
Yeah, apparently he wanted all the colours, so there may be more to come.
There may be more to come.
Yeah.
We'll look forward to that whole rainbow of submarines we could be getting very soon. But next tonight, we're telling you about another book, and this one aims to explain to children what racism is and how to combat it. It's called What is Racism? And it's the work of the charity Show Racism the Red Card and the children's publisher Usborne.
Burnley Football Club has helped unveil the new book to children in Year 4 at a local primary school, as Tasha Kachiri reports.
I'm Cara, I play for the women's team for Burnley. Is it okay to talk about racism? Yes. For too long, people have been treated unfairly and not given the same chances in life. This can only get better if we talk about it.
These Year 4s at Reedley Primary School are having a lesson with a difference, while Burnley players unite to send a very important message, teaching children that racism should never be tolerated.
I really like the reading because it teaches me not to judge other people just by their skin colour.
Just because you have a different colour skin to other people doesn't mean that you're better than them.
Stop being mean. I don't want people to judge other people. I just want everybody to be happy.
Show Racism the Red Card and the children's publisher Usborne have launched a new book called What is Racism in a bid to teach children across the UK all about it. More than 60,000 incidents of racism have been reported in schools across England in the last 5 years, but it's hoped this book can go some way to lowering those numbers.
Talking about and asking questions about racism is something that people feel uncomfortable about doing, and part of the purpose of this book is to encourage children to have those conversations and not be afraid to speak up, talk, ask questions and to challenge what they see and what they hear.
Burnley FC women player Cara Bickett spent the afternoon with the children reading and discussing issues surrounding the topic.
This is one of the first times I've ever really done anything like this, and it's kind of inspiring to me. When you speak, when you use your voice, when you try and make an impact, people do listen, and that's kind of what I figured out today.
The subject, even more significant for Burnley after a White Lives Matter banner was flown above the Etihad Stadium by some Burnley fans last year, while their team took a knee. Men's captain Ben Mee said it had embarrassed the entire club. For Cara, this is not just a reading, it's a chance to make a difference.
Hopefully inspire people to kind of make a change or be more aware of like what they're saying or how they treat people.
Tasha Kachiri, ITV News, Burnley.
Really important idea, isn't it? OK, still to come this evening.
A night on the Corrie cobbles of superfans who've been enjoying a once-in-a-lifetime stay in Weatherfield.
And we see a return to autumnal conditions over the next 24 hours before it perks up a little bit middle of the week. Forecast is coming up.
All right, you're watching Granada Reports. Our top story tonight. A nurse has denied murdering 8 babies and attempting to murder 10 others. Lucy Letby is alleged to have killed 5 boys and 3 girls while working at the Countess of Chester Hospital. Her trial next October is estimated to last up to 6 months.
And here's Mary with details of what's happening in the ITV News at 6:30.
Coming up on the programme, a warning from the Chancellor that the recovery will come at a cost. In his big speech at the Tory party conference, Rishi Sunak said more tax rises will be needed to fix the public finances. Also ahead, the military begin delivering fuel to the forecourts, but is it enough to fix the petrol crisis? Plus, the junior doctor and his pet dog that helped him to a top 10 finish in the London Marathon. Well, do join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
Well, and finally, it's been all about staycations this year, hasn't it? But can you imagine waking up in Weatherfield?
Yeah, great idea. Well, that's exactly what 2 girls from Brighton did on Saturday night after spotting a listing where on Airbnb, no less. They paid £60 charity donation for a one-off, once-in-a-lifetime stay on Coronation Street.
Yes, £60, of course, to celebrate the soap's 60th anniversary. A bargain, I feel. Our entertainment correspondent Caroline Whitmore went for a look round the Rovers Annex.
Well, staycations may be all the rage at the moment, but have you ever dreamt of spending the night on the cobbles of Coronation Street? Now, that's exactly what Catherine and Caroline from Brighton are doing as they're staying here in the Rovers Annex. Well, back in May, a one-off listing went up on the holiday home booking site Airbnb. It was a chance to book an overnight stay on Coronation Street for a £60 charity donation. That figure, of course, to coincide with Corrie's 60th anniversary.
Oh, wow.
You are staying overnight on the world's most famous street and you're waking up in Weatherfield. How excited are you?
I know, it's going to be so surreal waking up and thinking we can just pop over to Roy's and get our breakfast.
Yeah, I can't believe we're actually here.
Yeah.
Seeing it on TV last night and now here. It's very strange.
As if we're actually going to sleep on Coronation Street. Gorgeous. We thought we'd come in and take our shoes off and
make ourselves
right at home.
Please tell me, you Coronation Street fans.
Oh yeah. We have to binge Corrie on a Friday if we don't watch them all in 1 week.
What was the reaction to this listing then?
The reaction was extraordinary. It is the world's most famous street, and no one has ever stayed here before. In the last year alone, we've had the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air mansion, the Scream House, previous years Downton Abbey, and now Coronation Street.
There'll be people sat at home going, how did you manage it?
It seemed really straightforward. I just went on, booked, and we got it.
Caroline set an alarm.
I did set an alarm.
She set an alarm. I was working and she messaged me saying, I'm going to book it now. I was like, go for it. We didn't think it was real at first. Maybe it was too good to be true.
Which is the one scene that is your favourite?
It's when Richard Hillman drives into the canal. I just love all the dark scenes.
The factory explosion. Absolutely loved it.
Favourite character of all time?
Roy.
It would be an honour.
I love him.
I do like Carla. I think she's my favourite.
That's great news.
Our lovely, lovely friend and creator, Tony Warren, did say...
This isn't just a street of memories, it's a street full of ghosts.
Does that scare you?
As long as they don't wake us up, I'll be fine.
Yeah, I think I'm slightly terrified more of Roy bringing us breakfast.
That'd be great, actually.
That would be lovely.
You do know Roy isn't in Roy's roles, don't you?
Oh, what?
Oh, that's why I came. I came for Roy.
I beg your pardon?
Enjoy the experience. And the tea was non-negotiable. You're on Betty's Hot Pot.
Perfect.
Cracking. Sounds great.
Couldn't ask for any more.
Cheers.
Looks like they had a good time.
It looks like they had a very good time at a hot pot too.
OK, weather now, not looking great for the next 24 hours. Here's Joe.
Now that is brew weather.
And only boiling what she needs.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Big up you, sis.
Thank you. A very good evening to you. Some lovely sunshine around today. There've been a few blustery showers, I guess, to prepare us for tomorrow when we are expecting some heavy rain across our part of the world. Blustery winds, a chilly feel to the day. But if we can just hang on to Wednesday, it should be nice and fine. Deep low pressure system swings up from the southwest tonight, bringing rain through the early hours of tomorrow, pushing off into the North Sea tomorrow night. A ridge of high pressure for Wednesday, giving a fine day. More cloud to end the working week, but temperatures get a bit of a boost as we head towards the weekend. Back to this evening. Showers around, forming a longer spell of rain, certainly by the time we get to midnight, pushing in across most places in the early hours of tomorrow morning. Blustery, damp, rain circulating round, and temperatures down to around 10 or 11 degrees. On to tomorrow, the sun will be up at 7:19, setting at 6:39 tomorrow evening. Now, the Met Office have released a warning for tomorrow's rain. It'll be particularly heavy for Pennine areas, Cumbria, East Lancashire, maybe Derbyshire tomorrow afternoon. So if you're travelling Trans-Pennine, be aware of that. Horrible driving conditions, maybe some surface water and spray, and localised flooding, even for higher parts of Greater Manchester. Further west during the afternoon, becoming a little drier, perhaps more showery, and temperatures at 13 or 14 Celsius aren't going to feel very pleasant for any of us tomorrow in that northwesterly wind. The rain will push away tomorrow evening, and then on Wednesday we are looking at a dry day with a little ridge of high pressure, giving us some nice sunshine before things turn a little cloudier later on in the week. Bye-bye.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
2 sugars, please.
Oh, lovely.
Well, I tell you what, looking at that weather forecast, it's definitely a good thing they've already had their nights on the cobbles, isn't it?
I think you're right, yeah. Now, on tomorrow's programme is one of Chester's top attractions becoming an eyesore. We'll take a walk along the city's ancient walls to find out more.
For now, though, thanks for watching. Have a great night.
Good night.